fell in love with the country, and I studied meditation in a Buddhist monastery there. And after I returned home, I idealized Thailand for many years, and I imagined retiring there someday, until I wrote this poem. It's called, "I Will Grow Old and Quiet Sitting on a Bench in Central Park." My wife leaves to catch a flight to California for the week. She texts me a smiley face on the runway in Newark. The smell of her burnt bagel hangs in the air. I sit and stare across the Hudson. I soar beyond the Rockies, Sierras, and Pacific, and it dawns on me. I will not retire in Thailand like I once dreamt as a young man. I will never lie on Koh Samui Beach, watch the orange ball drop into the sea, inhale jasmine and lavender in February, rest my winter eyes on bougainvillea. I will never disappear into the far, far west that I once called the east. I will never sit beneath the Gobi tree and grow enlightened. I will grow old and quiet, sitting on a bench in Central Park. I will wander the bridle paths with my wife, visit Shakespeare's garden in the spring. I will sip coffee with my kids in Manhattan and stroll their babies in the park. I will dream beneath overcast skies and rise before the gray of dawn, to watch the runners and the cyclists fly past me. I will grow old and quiet, sitting on a bench in Central Park. Although I have given up becoming enlightened in this lifetime, I haven't given up on learning Tai Chi. About 6 months into studying Tai Chi at the Jewish Community Center here in Woodbridge, I wrote this poem. And I know some of you from my Tai Chi class are here tonight, so you'll relate to it especially. It's called Tai Chi for Old Folks. I shift my weight on my left foot, glide one step to the right, hold the invisible ball between my palms, roll back, play air guitar, punch, withdraw, push. A sea of 60-somethings floats across the mirrored room, reflects the teacher's dance, hands and legs in unison, inhale, exhale at once. Beginners after half a year, winter, spring, summer fade. We remember, we forget, bend our knees, take deep breaths, learn to walk, to yield, to stay, smile in our aches. Return next week, try again, listen, watch, release our pain. This next one's for my mother. It's called Bobbing. Bobbing. Lung cancer, my mother rode you, bobbing along a river, treading, almost half asleep, in a dream, relinquishing control, no longer steering. But didn't it get chilly, icy, in that waterway fathoms deep? No, bobbing is fine, just fine. God sticks his elbow in the water every once in a while, checks the temperature, adjusts. Bobbing, yes, bobbing. Bobbing is just fine. My mother loved to garden, so this poem is for her. It's called Crocuses on a Winter Day. 3 bright orange seeds, barely 1 week old, nestled in a cup of purple petals, peek up at me through a bed of melting snow. Have you forgotten me? Mama whispers as I bend beneath the winter sky to listen to the crocuses and wonder why. She chose to enter unannounced, reaching up through hardened ground, asking me if I still carry her. Yes, Mama, I do. I feel you in my wrists and nose and chin, in the shaking of my arms. I see you in the yellow winter grass as I try to grasp your hands. And this next one is for Ninra, my wife, and it's called Morning Love. The drizzled scent after the storm has passed, the dewy globes that cling to the blades of summer grass, the ridges and the valleys of the muscles in your back, the kneading, the yielding, the oohs, the ahs, the pick-patter outside our window pane, soft and faint, faint and soft, gone at last. My father loved books. When he passed away in April 2020, his house was overflowing with over 5,000 of them. Could be more. In the midst of the lockdown, I ended up giving most of them away. And afterwards, I had some regrets, so I wrote this poem. It's called Abandoned Books. Those books Papa cherished. When he died, I gave them away. Now, they rest on shelves, scattered across stores and homes. Each one a friend, some a romance. Camus, Dostoevsky, Tolstoy, to name a few. If only I could find them, turn and touch their pages, curl up next to them, ponder their lines. Maybe, just maybe, I might touch Papa and turn back the hands of time. There's this place in Central Park where people dance and skate to disco music on weekends. And one day in the middle of winter, as the sun was setting, I ran into this outdoor party and it inspired this poem. It's called Winter Dance. Saturday night, and I feel gay. A man beats bongos in the park, another blows the whistle. The other strikes the bell, what the hell? I wade into the crowd, February thaw, festival for just one day. The DJ bites and breaks and mixes, the smell of weed so thick, the beat so strong, everyone so happy, swaying to the music. What else matters? I'm alone, now a part of these people in the park. Tomorrow I will freeze. Now I write these lines as if to say, I'm alive in the dark and the gray. I'm alive in the park for just this winter day. And this next poem is about falling asleep at night. It's called Night Train. When I fall asleep at night in my forest home, a freight train whistles in the dark. So distant, I wonder if I'm dreaming. Its rumble on the tracks so faint, I strain to hear it past my breathing. Like the God to whom I pray, I wonder if she's really there. Yet I hear her whistling, sometimes almost singing, and she comforts me when I'm in doubt. So night train, I ask of you, won't you visit me just one more time tonight? As I grow older, I cherish every opportunity I get to spend with my son, Danny. A couple of years ago, we hiked to the Swiss Alps, and this next one's for him. It's called Lauterbrunnen, May 2023. My son hikes past me, down the Alpine hill. Waterfalls rumble, cowbells ring below. My knees burn each step I take. I try to hide the pain. My son stops by a stone wall, watches a yellow-shelled snail crawl into a mossy lip, its tentacles wriggling in the air. He smiles at the dawdler, films it on his phone. He resumes his descent, shoulders, arms, legs, bound, spring, leap down steep stone stairs. My knees ache, I limp and dawdle. My son waits, studies my gait, smiles. Papa, take your time. The night after Danny got married in December 2023, I heard my wife crying in our bed. So I wrote this poem. It's called Wedding Night. My wife whimpers, wakes me in my sleep, tries to find the mouse in Goodnight Moon, the star in I Spy, the little engine in I Think I Could. His toy train has left the station, whistles in memory's night. The wooden bridge he built with his mom in our backyard is cracked and crumbled, its red paint long since peeled and disappeared. For now, we'll just pretend he and his wife will return next month. They'll dance and boogie to Marvin Gaye, hip and hop and leap over marbles on a Chinese checkers board, jump and cry and play by our side. Maybe, just maybe, we'll play I Spy, find a star we lost tonight between the maps and tubs and bowling pins of our lives. And this next one is very short. It's for my daughter, and it's called Allison. Children, up and gone. Pillows, plumped. Sheets tucked. Their rooms, museums. This next one is inspired by the John Lennon Memorial in Central Park, which I love to visit on our weekends in the city. I suppose you could say this one's a poem about peace in a time of war. It's called Strawberry Fields, Central Park, September 2023. On a pilgrimage to this mandala of the human race, this sacred place, I search for the ghosts of millennial hope, the ones who've made themselves scarce, the dreams that borders and hate might dissolve in peace and love on earth. I envision the spokes of this wheel radiating across the globe, fanning out across the countries etched in stone, drawing waves of tourists, semicircles coalescing, dissolving. The guy with a chutzpah to grab a selfie smack dab in the middle, others squatting, waving for pics and vids massacring Beatles songs. I smell the weed waft across tremulous voices. I marvel at the woman with white hair in the wheelchair chanting, "Here comes the sun." I drop my anthropologist pose, the one I honed reading history tomes. I jump into the crowd, sing lyrics to love songs I pretend to know. I melt deeper into the throng, relinquish my doubts about world peace. I return when the wind turns cold and dry and the crowds thin. Trade my sandals for socks and boots, traipse through darkened slush, watch my breath condense in icy air, stand alone, chant and sing and pray, believe in what I do not see. Find my corner, my angle, my home. Crowds will join me until I'm a regular, a repeat customer, an unknown. In 2006, I traveled with my best friend from medical school to Burma, or Myanmar, as it had been renamed. One morning, we passed an old monk on the side of the road. Many years later, I wrote this poem. It's called Old Man Monk, Burma, January 2006.
Really?
To give up his home and money and name, venture into the street and walk away. A bowl between his hands, an old man begging on the road to Mandalay. His working days behind him, sticky rice, papaya slice dropped into his bowl, the scent of jasmine in the air. Like the dragonfly that flutters in the early morning sun, unknown, unseen, unaware. A few months ago, I attended a memorial at Fellowship House in New Haven for a friend of mine who passed away. Fellowship House is a wonderful community in New Haven for people recovering from mental illness. And I was very inspired by the memorial. And I wrote this poem. It's called On Attending John's Memorial, or Petals Falling. The tears I shed, welling up, streaming down my face. The hands we shook, the petals of remembrance that we placed in your vase. The genealogies you constructed, Genghis Khan, Jesus, King Arthur, tenuously related to you and me. The pictures you painted of planets, spaceships, aliens, tethered to us on Mother Earth. The wisdom of your madness, that we are all brothers linked by blood across the ages. May your spirit inhabit those obscure islands on the far side of sad sanity's horizon, ancient, timeless, barely visible, imagined by you and me and him and her, and all of us. A couple weeks ago, I took a walk with an old friend of mine to one of our favorite spots in Woodbridge, Sperry Falls, which some of you may know. It's kind of off the beaten track, it's kind of the edge of this town. I've been going there for years since I was a kid. I grew up in this town in the 60s. And we know each other pretty well. And so I wrote this poem. It's called Walking with an Old Friend, Sperry Falls, Woodbridge, Connecticut. By these falls we pause, laughter recalled, folded into silence. 50 years behind us, our steps, once long, now careful. The rhythms we knew, bit by bit, released, pebbles falling into water. No need to break the sound between branches, the pause in the meadowlark's song. Last year I started volunteering at the St. Thomas More Soup Kitchen in New Haven. Some of you are here tonight. Thank you for coming from the soup kitchen. Their operation is truly amazing, feeding well over 800 people on Wednesdays. Before we start serving, one of us recites a prayer, and 1 week I recited this one. It's called Soup Kitchen Prayer. Oh Lord, bless these juicy meatballs, the lasagna, the endless trays of roasted chicken, the multicolored carrots, the carbs, oh yes, the carbs, the oceans of mashed potatoes, and that red pasta sauce sticking to the bottom of the pan. May you flow through our hands and legs and backs and arms and our feet, oh yes, our weary feet too, uniting those who serve, those who eat, those who shuffle, those who speak, and especially those who shout, the troublemakers, the prophets, those who wake us from our slumber and make us doubt, all in one with you, here and now. And I'd like to close tonight with a poem about the Statue of Liberty, which Ninrong and I visited last month. Two of my grandparents, my father, my wife, and my soon-to-be son-in-law all immigrated to America. So the Statue of Liberty means a lot to me, as it does a lot for so many other people. And this one is simply entitled, On Visiting the Statue of Liberty, March 29, 2025. 7 blades rise from your crown, reeds in the wind. Severed irons at your feet, rust sinking into stone. Behind you, shadows, wide enough to keep us in the dark. Books unseen, unread in the crook of your arm. Your mouth unparted, silence hammered into edict. May you never yield, may you never bend. And that's it. here, from the soup kitchen, from my Tai Chi class, from a Connecticut Poetry Society, from this cool little writers group that we have here, people from my family and people from high school, from Amity. I grew up in this town. My family moved here in 1968, and I moved away in '76 to go to college and medical school, and then I came back many years to raise my family in 1997. So this is a beautiful coming together for me, and as you can see, a lot of the poems are about my family and places very local and very distant. In the book that was published recently, there's it's kind of like a spiritual journey book. There's a lot of stuff there's poems about Europe, poems about Asia, poems just about my family, and poems about getting older, and there's some photographs in it, which I started doing, and I'm working on a second book as well. That's sort of following up on things of that. Some of them are very short, some of them are haiku, some of them are narrative, and some of them are more political. So I hope you get to read the book, hopefully, and enjoy most of the poems. And I just want to thank you again for all of you, showing up in the midst of a busy work week, because I know some of you had to sacrifice things and drive here and cancel clients and all kinds of stuff like that. So thank you for coming.